Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to day 7 in palette week, where every single day for the last 7 days I have posted some sort of palette themed content, and I'm very excited because today I'm going to be sharing with you another video in my top 10 series. And today we're going to be talking about the top 10 mini eyeshadow palettes in my collection. Admittedly, I definitely loved mini palettes more like last year, even the year prior. I will say I've had so much fun just learning new formulas with indie brands and trying new indie brands this year and getting a little bit more comfortable and creative with like special shades and colorful shades that I'm not always as excited to reach into my mini palettes because I feel a little bit more creatively limited with my mini palettes. But there is definitely a time and a place where a mini palette is just so perfect. I often refer to a lot of my mini palettes as kind of like my sweatpants of my eyeshadow palette collection, kind of like a comfort, like you don't even have to think about it, it's just an easy reach. So I'm going to be sharing those palettes with you today. I didn't necessarily leave a cap on how many shades needed to be in the, like how few shades needed to be in. I have one palette that is, I'm gonna spoil this one. We'll talk about it first, but after the intro. But the Viseart palette, the Soleil Le Plug, it has 12 shades, but like I could also slip this palette into like my pocket of like my back pants pocket. So that's why I feel like this I'm comfortable counting as a mini, and if that bothers you, I'm sorry. But I have 10 palettes plus an honorable mention to share with you guys today. If you're interested in my top 10 mini palettes, stay tuned. First, if you've yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project panning content, palette themed content, or just chit chatting about makeup, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Alright guys, I just finished filming my first ever palette bingo. Spoiler on what the look turned out as if you missed that video, but that was my video I posted like 2 days ago. I didn't change my shirt, I'm sorry. The Vikings play in 8 minutes and I'm wanting to like start listening with the noise on as soon as possible, but I do want to get this video filmed. So I will leave that video link down below, as well as my palette playlist in case you're interested in checking that out. We used palettes. We had a list of palettes that were unused in my collection that we used to create or used to select the palettes from Palette Bingo. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna start with my honorable mention palette, which, where did it go? Oh, it's right here. Okay, this is not counting as my top 10 because I know not everybody loves a pressed glitter, but I wanted to share this palette because I think if you are comfortable using a pressed glitter and you are looking for an exceptional pressed glitter formula, I would highly recommend this from Nabla. I have the Glorious Lights glitter palette here. If I am going out and doing something special and I'm feeling like my look needs just a little something extra, actually, I feel like I could add this to my look today. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna take a little bit of this more like mauve toned shade. I probably should lay down even more of a glitter glue, but I'm too lazy. And I'm just gonna press a little bit of glitter on. Actually, I'm filming this on Christmas Eve, so you know what? In honor of the holidays, we can add a little glitter. I just feel like this adds just something. It's so easy because you literally just press it on. I mean, yes, then you have glitter and like there's a risk in glitter, I guess. But I feel like it just adds something so extra and so special to a look. I really enjoy it. It's my only like glitter palette in my collection, and I don't use it on like a weekly basis even. But when I'm wanting a glitter or when I'm wanting a little something extra, this is such a good little quad to have in my little makeup arsenal. So I wanted to just give that an honorable mention. Then we will go into, I have one mini palette, so we're into the top 10. I'm not ranking these, I'm just sharing my top 10 with you. I'm gonna share one that is limited edition. It wasn't limited edition, the brand's no longer. This is the only one I believe that I'm sharing that you can no longer get, and it's from Aether Beauty. It is the Rose Quartz Quad. I also love the Ambertine Crystal Quad. That one is more like dusty purple. This, I feel like, is just a little bit more like I don't want to say everyday friendly, but something that I would be reaching for more than the Ambertine Crystal. Like, this is something that I would wear these shades more on like an everyday basis. I really enjoyed the Aether formula because even their satins are really beautiful, just really smooth. I do recommend a glitter glue to make them pop just a little bit more, or if you like something really subtle but still like a shimmer, you might really like this. It's just, again, like a comfort reach. I don't have to really think about what I'm doing. I can use all 4 of these shades to create one look. It's easy to reach for, and I really enjoy this one from Aether. I have 2 Kaja stacks to share. My first top pick would be the Chocolate Dahlia, just because I feel like this is like just your everyday neutrals. Like, obviously you're not going to have a lot of variety. You have literally 3 shades, but this comes traveling with me pretty much every single time I go traveling because I have a neutral matte brown. I can deepen it up a little bit if I want to. And then I have this really beautiful, like shimmery, sparkly champagne sort of shade. It's just so easy. It's so easy. I feel like this would work for just about everybody. So that's my first Kaja stack. And then I also wanted to mention the Peach Madeline stack. Now this, you're obviously gonna have to be a peach lover, and it only has 1 matte shade, which is this shade right here. But it has this really, really, really beautiful, very sparkly, pinky peach metallic, which I just absolutely love. If you love a sparkle on your lid, I think you'll really enjoy that. And then this shade right here is kind of like a peachy champagne, but it's like that chunkier, kind of sticky texture that's just gonna be so metallic and punchy and foiled on the eyes. I think it's so beautiful. I'll swatch this shade. I don't think I'm gonna have time to like actually film swatches. 2024, you guys. My goal is to like actually be a better YouTuber. But we're getting down to the wire here, and I'm hoping to have this video up in a couple of days, and I just do not think I'm gonna have the time to film swatches. But look how just intense and metallic and lovely that is, and it's just so easy. Like, it's so easy, and because this is such a sparkly, intense metallic shade, I feel like it looks like you took more time to do your makeup than you actually did. So for that reason, I love it. I have 2 Natasha Denona mini palettes to share. I'm sure this will come as no surprise. I have been talking about this palette as a favorite on my channel for literal years. I have repurchased this palette because mine broke. It's the Natasha Denona Mini Nude. I love this because you can really go quite simple with this. You can just do like a matte all over the lid, but you can really deepen it up with this shade on the end here. And then you have this really beautiful kind of like green red duochrome shade. It's so beautiful on the eyes. I just absolutely love this palette. There's been a couple of times I have brought this with me to work, so I'm doing something after work, and then I'll like use this to go from like work to like after work. Really enjoy that one. And then I also really enjoyed the Natasha Denona Mini Retro palette. This is so beautiful. It has one of my absolute favorite shades from Natasha Denona, which is in the shade Galaxia. It's this really beautiful kind of iridescent, silvery bluey pink sort of shade. So sparkly on the eyes. I love a sparkly lid, and this gives it to me. I also really love this dusty pink matte shade. It's one of my favorite dusty pinks in my entire collection. But then I love that you have these like pops of like greens, but this one's almost like not even green. It's almost like a blue silver. I just feel like for a 5-pan palette, this one actually offers like a decent amount of variety. So that is another recommendation. I said I was going to talk about this first, and then I totally didn't, but the palette I spoiled at the beginning, the Viseart Soleil Le Plage palette. This is the palette that made me like want to give Viseart another chance. I haven't been the biggest fan of Viseart in the past, but I think this is such a beautiful palette. I have really learned to appreciate the Viseart formula in that it is definitely more buildable. Like, it's not going to be the most pigmented mattes, but I appreciate that because sometimes I can be a little bit impatient when blending. You know, things can just go south quickly, I feel like, when I do my eyeshadow. So the buildable, the better sometimes. And I just love this palette. I love the yellow tones in here, and I definitely am interested in trying more from Viseart. I know they have some really beautiful quads that I've definitely had my eye on, as well as like the purple palette. Is it the Paris palette? I can't remember. And there's a couple other ones as well. So if you guys have any Viseart recommendations, let me know in the comments. Also, I would love to know your favorite mini palettes in the comments. All right, this palette is very boring, but this serves such a specific purpose. And this is actually a palette that's gone unused in my collection this year, but this got so much use for me last year, and I actually purchased this last year because I was traveling for work at least once a month, and I just wanted something that, like, this is all I took sometimes. I was literally working from like 7 a.m. to like 7 or 8 p.m. and I just wanted, like, I did not care if my eyeshadow was like poppin'. I just wanted something quick and easy, and this was perfect for me. I definitely, when I'm going for like just a matte in the crease, especially like as I'm not self-tanning, I like something a little bit more cool toned. I feel like it just matches my skin tone better. So I know NARS has at least a couple of little 6 pans. They are so convenient for travel, so that's why I wanted to mention that. It's not an exciting palette, but it's a very purposeful palette. Okay, I love the Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. I definitely have some favorites, but for like neutral, gonna work for like the most amount of people, something from the Huda nude line. I used to have the nude rich as well and really enjoyed that, and I actually still have my eye on like the nude light. I think looks so pretty. The formula in this Obsessions line was just absolute perfection. I know sometimes with the Huda Obsessions palettes that's not the case, but I absolutely love the formula in this. I think the mattes blend so easily together. The shimmers are very punchy and metallic, which I tend to prefer, and I just always leave this palette with a look that I enjoy. So I definitely wanted to mention that. From Pat McGrath, I really do love this quad. In fact, I have this quad on my eyes today. It actually went unused all year, which I swear it didn't. I'm like, I swear I've used this more. I also shared this in palettes that I want to use throughout the month of January, so I'm hoping to, you know, kick it off in the new year using this palette at least, I'm gonna say at least 5 to 8 times. I just feel like this is a quad that, like, every shade feels a little bit special to me. Some of the Pat McGrath quads have like at least 1 or 2 mattes in them, and I just don't really care for the Pat McGrath mattes. But I love the blue in here. I have this satin like plum shade on the outer third of my eyes, and I actually think it's really beautiful. I also really love this like special like champagne pinky sort of shade. And then you have a really beautiful deep like embery, greeny, satiny sort of shade. Satiny, taupey, like dark taupe. Just really beautiful. If you are looking to pick up a Pat McGrath quad, this is where I would direct you. And then the 10th and final mini palette I wanted to share is newer to my collection, but this is such a beautiful complementary shimmer palette. This is not going to be a palette that like stands alone by any means, at least not for me, but it's from Glaminatrix, which is one of my newest favorite brands. And this is a 6-pan all metallic palette. Came out for the holidays this year, and if you are looking for just, again, a complementary palette that's gonna add kind of like that textured, punchy, metallic, glittery sparkle to your eyes, look no further. You have a really beautiful like green gold, you have kind of your standard champagne, you have this like teal silver sort of shade. I don't even really know how, like you have like a mauve sort of shade, kind of like a fuchsia pink, not really fuchsia, I don't know what I'm saying. But then Cracker is this really beautiful kind of like silver but kind of taupe leaning, really chunky like sticky metallic, just so sparkly, so metallic. If you like a more subtle eye, I would not direct you to this, but I have been so impressed with this. Kind of, if you don't want to glitter but you want something very punchy on the eyes that you can kind of add to looks to add a little something special, I would direct you here. Such a good formula. I really enjoyed that palette. And those are my top 10 mini palettes in my collection. I would love to know again in the comments below, what is your tippity top favorite mini palette in your collection? Let a girl know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.